Hello everyone, my name is Elijah David. This is the 12th Apostolic Sabbatarian Congregation on time to 12th hour in Liberty Hill, Texas. Today is August 31, 2013, or it is the 25th day of Elul 2017. We will start our third service on the 7th day Sabbath with a song that I have written entitled Wonder of Wonder, in Heaven I See, Heavenly Light Shining All Around me. This goes with Revelation chapter 12, where it says, And there appeared a great wonder in the heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of the 12 stars. About a long time ago, of a prophecy made for the future to unfold. Not a man named Joshua who came to his home to live and to die and reign on his throne. Wonder of wonder in heaven I see, heavenly light shining all around me. Glory in heaven is found. Oh, matchless love from heaven come down. He was a man who walked among men. He showed deliverance from all manner of sin. He touched the heartstrings of men where they live, and with unerring judgment he had power to forgive. Wonder of wonder in heaven I see, heavenly light shining all around me. Glory of glory in heaven is found. Oh, matchless love from heaven come down. The plan of salvation for me, long mercy and full of grace. He blazed a trail to glory, you see, through the blood of the Lamb of the Calvary. Wonder of wonder in heaven I see, light shining all around me. Glory of glory in heaven is found. Oh, matchless love from heaven come down. Hello everyone, once again this is Elijah David. We're going to continue on our series now, Everlasting Kingdom of the David. This is part 13. It's going to be ongoing until we finish the compilation of my book. We're going to take it from there. We're going to take it from the scriptures. We're going to take it from the rod, B.T. Hada, and the charts by the B.T. Hada. Now here we have a chart right here on our subject for this afternoon, and that will be about the woman that represents the ever-living church. And so that's what we're dealing with right now, Everlasting Kingdom of the David. Okay. Now it says that in Revelation 12, verse 1, And there appeared a great wonder in the heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of the 12 stars. Here's the picture. Moon under her feet, crown of the 12 stars, clothed with the sun. The great red dragon representing Satan, standing before her to devour the man-child as soon as it was born, at 4000 BC. Now, I want to read to you something that says on this chart that's written by B.T. Hartman, and that's this right here, this little bit over in this box. It says, For the one true church in all ages, clothed with the sun, the Bible, at the departure from the Egypt, for the great apostasy and the birth of Yahshua, for the Satan cast out of the heaven, and the great persecution against the church, the authority of the church, Revelation 12. Now what I'm going to do is read to you the prayer thought taken from Revelation 12, and then we'll get into our main study of the everlasting kingdom of David, taken from excerpts from my book. Okay, this says, and there appeared a great wonder in the heaven. Okay, now, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of the 12 stars. And she being with child, pain, travailing in the pain, ready to be delivered. Okay, she's travailing in the birth, ready to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in the heaven, and behold, a great red dragon. Now, this great red dragon was also in the heaven, where this woman appeared first. The woman came down to this earth in 4000 BC to give birth to the man-child. The dragon followed her down here. So that's the two wonders in heaven. So the first wonder was a woman clothed with the sun. She appeared in the heavens, representing the universal church from Adam clear down to the end of time here on this earth. And there appeared another wonder in the heaven, the old red dragon. And behold, a great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his head. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of the heaven, and he did cast them onto the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of the iron. And her child was caught up unto the Yahweh, and unto his throne, which is in the sides of the north, the great white throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of the Yahweh, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. There is a 1260-year prophecy from 538 to 1798 AD. And there was war in the heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. And prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in the heavens. Okay. Now it says that, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth. Now, he was not cast out here at the beginning of Yahshua's birth. He voluntarily followed. So he stayed here 33 and a half years, ended up crucifying the Savior on the cross, using his power and influence through the Romans and the Pharisees and the Sadducees to hang Yahshua on the cross. And when he did that, then when Yahshua resurrected, he went back to heaven and cast Lucifer out of heaven and his angels did it. Forever barred from heaven. Okay. So now, if Yahshua has proven once before that he can cast someone out of his kingdom in heaven, how about this kingdom of heaven here that he's set up on this earth? Those that are on probationary time in this kingdom, there are people that are on probationary time in this kingdom that will be cast out when their probation is up. That's what happened in the text 2002. Their probation was up. They were in the kingdom. Okay. They were cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in the heaven, now is come salvation, and strength, and the kingdom of our Yahshua, our Savior. Yeah, Yahshua earned the right for it. He paid the price with his blood. And now he has the right to inherit this kingdom and to become the judge, the prophet, priest, and king upon the everlasting throne of David, which is Yahshua's assured throne with him. David is sharing his throne with Yahshua. David proved this in 2 Samuel chapter 7 and 1 Kings chapter 8, when he had a purpose in his heart to build Yahshua and Yahweh the Father a house to live in while they were here on earth. When they'd come to visit this earth, he wanted them to have a house to dwell in. And by doing this, Yahweh told him, he says, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to make you a sure house and a sure dwelling place. Because it was in your heart to do it for me, it's in my heart now to do it for you. So they exchanged vows, and they did it for each other. So now Yahweh and Yahshua are renewing their covenant now with antithetical David to share in the same revenue and inheritance of this kingdom. Okay, so he says, now has come salvation. And Yahshua resurrected and went back to heaven. He said, now. And you'll find that in John 12:31 and 32. Let's go read it. We just kind of flipped right to it, looks like. He said, and now is the judgment of this world come. This is John 12:31. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out. That's what Yahshua went back to heaven. He announced that on earth after his resurrection to his disciples. He told them now is the time to go back home, back to heaven, and cast Lucifer out of heaven. Because Lucifer had already made his way back to heaven. Yahshua went up there and intercepted him at the golden gate of heaven and cast him out. And his angels with him. John 12:32, and if I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto me. Okay. So now it says here in Revelation 12 that there is war in heaven. Let's see about that. Revelation 12:7. And there appeared and there was war in the heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. Okay. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in the heaven, now is come salvation, and strength, and the kingdom, everlasting kingdom of our Yahshua here on this earth. And the power of his Messiah, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before Elohim day and night. Actually, which accused them before our Savior Yahshua day and night. And he overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth, the United States proper, to start the judgment here in the earth, the United States, Jeremiah 23. Executing judgment and justice first in the earth against the seat of the beast, against the beast's headquarters in Washington, D.C., and against his false prophet that's sitting up on that seat of the beast. which is that woman. You get the point? Great Babylon now is in control of the beast. The beast represents the New World Order that has always been set up by Babylon. Only she has many different changes of names and faces. When she needs to, she changes into a nondescript beast called pagan Rome. And when she needs to make another alteration a little bit, she changes into another beast with a little different look called ecclesiastical Rome. And when she needs to make another change, she changes into another beast that's called a leopard-like beast that comes by the sea and makes its headquarters at Washington, D.C. In the United States. And this is always Mystery Babylon, and her power is orchestrating all these changes. She makes these changes for these beasts like a chameleon bird. They can change colors and images at the snap of a finger. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth, the United States, and of the sea, the rest of the world. For the devil has come down unto you, having great wrath. Who is this you? The everlasting kingdom, house of the David, and the 144,000. This is that you, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. For we represent that pure woman with this crown of 12 stars, because we have the 12,000 as joined us as members of Yahweh's great army to join his everlasting kingdom of the David here, and to carry out the visual march upon the evil kingdoms of this world, and to overthrow and subdue them until the last one is subdued. And when the dragon saw that he was cast out into the earth, verse 13 of Revelation 12, when he saw that he was cast out into the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. So now, after the cross, he realized that he didn't have no more a place in heaven. His only abode now is on this planet until she's through. And so he came back to this earth then, and he started persecuting the apostles that represented the pure woman with the 12 crowns, the 12 stars, representing the 12 tribes of Israel, and the 12 apostles, with Paul being the 12th one. That's what those stars represent. These stars also represent the 12 patriarchs, the 12 sons of Jacob. Okay. And unto the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle. Okay, now we have that. We have that also, and another chart showing the eagle. 2 eagle's wings reaching from the Garden of Eden to the end of our time in the 12th hour, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she was nourished for a time and times and a half a time from the face of the deep. So where is the wilderness at? The wilderness of the people is right here in Texas. All right. Where is another place called the wilderness? Revelation 17. The scarlet colored beast was seen in the wilderness. Wilderness is in the United States. The beast that came up out of the sea, and another 2-horned beast came up in the earth, the United States proper. The wilderness of the people is in the United States proper, more notably in Texas, where he's going to gather all of the remnant of the 144,000 in this Western Hemisphere to cause them to pass under the rod and into the bond of the covenant, and purge out the rebels in the wilderness like it did in the tide coming out of Egypt. And they'll not enter into the promised land, so it says in Ezekiel 20, verse 31 through 40, and he's going to purge out the rebels here in the wilderness, and they'll not enter into the land of Israel, it said. Same thing as it was in the tide when they came out of Egypt, and the 2 million or plus died over that 40-year period in the wilderness. And the serpent, verse 15, Revelation 12. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of Elohim and have the testimony of the Yahshua Messiah. Okay, folks, it don't get a whole lot better than that, and yet it will always get better than that every time, because as the scroll unrolls, we learn new things, and new things to the point where it says in Jeremiah 33:3, "Call unto me, and I will answer thee, and show thee great and mighty things that thou knowest not." You got to call upon him first, though, and he'll show you the things you need to know. And so you just call upon him and say, "Well, just show me the things that I need to know. Give me only what I can understand and comprehend and absorb, so that I don't get overwhelmed, become overwhelmed because there's so much, you would get spiritual indigestion in a hurry. So all of what we're receiving today is compacted prophecy. Okay, we're getting the butter that's come from the cream comes from the milk. We're not getting the skim milk, we're not getting the sincere milk of the word, we're getting the sincere condensed prophecy represented by the butter and the honey. So that's what Isaiah 14, talks about that prophecy, about that butter and the honey, and about those 2 sheep and that 1 cow. Well, there's your prophecy Isaiah projected for this time that would take place during this hour. Let's go ahead, let's just turn to it and read it for a moment. It says, I believe it's in 14:21. Let's see. Isaiah 14. No, Isaiah 7, I believe. Let's see. Isaiah 7:21. "And it shall come to pass in that day that a man shall nourish a young cow and 2 sheep." The young cow represents the manifold voluminous books of the Spirit of Prophecy compiled by the Ellen G. White, where she is bigger than the 2 sheep put together. The 2 sheep represents the Old and New Testament scriptures that were compiled by Yahshua himself, dictated, and the prophets compiled it, and Moses transcribed it all into writing. Represented by the sheep. The sheep represents those 2 olive trees in Zechariah 4, that's on the right left side of the 10th candlestick, that has the golden bowl on the top of it. The golden bowl is the Spirit of Prophecy that collects up all of the truth that's coming out of the Old Testament and the New Testament, at the same time dovetailing into the compacted Spirit of the Prophecy that Ellen G. White enlarged upon in her writings, taken from the scriptures of the Old and New Testament. So it says in Isaiah 7:22, "And it shall come to pass for the abundance of milk that they shall give, he shall eat butter, for butter and honey shall everyone eat that is left in the land." So you start out with milk, and the sincere milk of the word. That's Yahshua loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells us so. That's the kind of stuff you start out on. But you end up with 2 Peter 1:19. "You have also a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto you do to take heed that is a light, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place, until the day dawn, and the day star arise in your hearts." The day star is Yahshua. Until that happens, you have a more sure word of prophecy, which is your butter of the word. Butter and honey. If you can learn to simulate prophecy and understand it with the voice of inspiration, then you are definitely eating on the butter and the honey, not the milk of the word. Advent started out with the milk of the word, and that's all they ever wanted. That's all they ended up with. Brother Johnson started out with his movement with the butter and the honey. That's all he wanted at the time. But then as the time went on, he became weary of it. He went back to the sincere milk of the word, and then he ended up with the skim milk, and then with nothing. Now we'll go back to our book now. Let's just get on into the book. Alright, we're on page 39. We'll do a little review here for the purifying of the old movement, the seventh one. That's the Adventist movement from 1844 to 2002, culminating with the Gilead Center, Kermit, Texas, 2002, is with the bringing forth of the 144,000 first fruits between 2003 and I said 2010, but we're going to upgrade that 2010 to yet an indefinite period of time. For we know that the 7-year period for the Ezekiel 9 investigative judgment started in 2002, actually, Kermit, Texas. It had an ongoing period of 7 years. 2003 actually is the beginning point, and ending in 2010 for that 7-year period for Ezekiel 9 to do its investigative and marking and placing a mark upon those sign and property abominations done in the Adventist Church. That work, we believe, started in 2003 and ended in 2010. Okay, we've had the prophecies of the 7 years of famine and the 7 years of plague since 2010 to open up to us. We've dealt with that a little bit before, but we're going to deal with it again. And that's sometime, but right now it says, for the purifying of the old movement, or the seventh movement, actually the old movement, because I was a part of the seventh movement. That's where I got my training. For the purifying of the seventh movement, let's just put it that way. 1844-2002 is with the bringing forth of the 144,000 first fruits. Matthew 20, first fruits 2003-2010. At the end of the half-hour silence in the eighth and final movement, for the time allowed for each movement is marked on the Elohim's prophetic clock at the 3-hour intervals. Okay, now let's turn to that clock then and get back with our 24-hour parabolic clock, actually our 12-hour parabolic clock, right here. 3 hours between each one of these intervals. Between 1 and 4 you have 3 hours. Between 4 and 7 you have 3 hours. Between 7 and 10 you have 3 hours. Between 10 and 1 you have 3 hours. Notice it's always 4 numbers apart that is shaping out 3 parabolic hours. Okay. So now it says, for the first 3 hours on the prophetic clock starts at the creation week, indicating from the creation into the fall of the atom. Okay. For the 8 movements are in the 24 allegorical hours from the first. 3rd hour on the prophetic time clock through the last. 3 hours is for the last 2 movements, 7 and 8. For the 7th movement is with the 10th and the 11th hour, 1844 through 2000 up to 2002. That was the 2 prophetic hours we're talking about here. Okay, now it says, for the 7th movement closes with the judgment for the dead, 2002, and the 8th movement is for the 12th hour. For the 12th hour on the prophetic clock is with the ending of the 24 prophetic hours, and here it is right here. Still got 1 daylight left when it strikes 24, or 12, or 24. You have 1 hour to close out that 24 hours. Okay, now it says, for when you multiply 8 times 3, it equals 24. 8 movements. Therefore, we have another reason why the angel said there should be time no longer. At the end of that 8th movement, there is time no longer. When the 12th hour is over, it's over, folks. Okay. The reason why 3 hours to a movement, and there's an explanation. Comment by the Elijah David. This is my comment reading why 3 hours to a movement. B.T. Hardif gave his comment in the negative sense, and I upgraded in the positive sense. And so let's read now the upgrade. For the rule of the 12-hour daylight, John 11:9, applies unto the 12-hour night light. For the 12 prophetic hours of the night, 3, 6, 9, and 12, and the 12 prophetic hours of the day are 3, 6, 9, and 11. Notice now, but it actually should read 3, 6, 9, and 12 also. Check the chart at the top of this article and the pebble of Matthew 20 for the confirmation. For the following fact further proves that the house of Israel history in this instant is represented by a 24-hour clock dial. For if the call came for the Israel early in the morning at the 12th hour, at the end of the 12th hour, the last hour of the night, starting with the 1 hour. So the call for Israel is at the first hour of the day, not the last hour of the night, the 12th hour. That's where you start with number 1 right there. Okay. So it says in the following fact further proves that the house of Israel's history in this instance is represented by a 24-hour clock dial. That is the 12 hours before the Bible and the 12 hours after the Bible. Okay. In other words, the 12 hours after the Bible represents the daylight, the 12 hours before the Bible represents the night. Okay. Some may question of the evidence for the line of the 3 hours for each incident from the creation unto the fall of Adam, and again unto the Enoch. Okay. Creation, right here. The fall of Adam, right here at number 4. To Enoch being the second one called on scene here at number 7. To Noah being called on scene here at number 10 on the top. And Moses being called on the scene of the number 12 on your clock, the last hour in the night. For Moses worked in the 12th hour, and Moses worked in the first hour. He had 2 hours just like I had. I had the 11th hour, and I've got the 12th hour. Okay. Now it says, so it says, some may question of the evidence. Okay. For the Yeshua is with the working on a 3-hour schedule with the crucifixion, for the Yahweh, the Father, is with the working on the 3-hour schedule with the crucifixion of the Yeshua, his Son. See a chart on page 22. By the using of the same rule in the period called day, and is with the using of the same rule in the period called night. For the reason for the following of that particular rule is for the presenting unto his congregation of the exact time of the congregation's history by the periods. For the examination of the evidence from another angle is with the first man that sinned, called the first Adam. For the looking at the clock dial from the 3rd hour in the dark part, fall of Adam, opposite of the 3rd hour in the light part, and we see the 2nd Adam, Messiah crucified. Right here, Adam. The 3rd hour right here is the full. Yeshua hang on the cross at the 3rd hour, number 4, meaning that's the end of the 3rd hour, full. Both of them having finished out 33.5 years with a perfect life of no sin. First Adam, 33.5 years in the Garden of Eden, no sin. Yeshua, 33.5 years living on this earth, no sin. Okay, now it says, by the using of the same rule in the period called day, and with the using of the same rule in the period called night, for the reason for the following of that particular rule is for the presenting unto his congregation the exact time of the congregation's history by the periods. For the examination of the evidence from another angle, let's read that again. For the examination of the evidence from another angle is with the first man that sinned, called the first Adam. For the looking at the clock dial of the third hour, in the dark part, that's the fall of the atom, opposite unto the third hour in the light part, okay, dark part, atom, third hour, light part, Yeshua, third hour. Straight across the page, folks. 4, 4, which is actually the fulfillment of the third hour in both instances. You could say 3 to 3. Okay. It's a strange saying that Vicky drew the parallels straight across the page, and they end up being at 4 and 4 instead of 3 and 3. That's another providential thing that I just picked up on. The Bible calls them the first hour, the third hour, the 6th and the 9th hour, the 11th and the 1st hour. But when Vicky made the chart, he wrote the names and he pointed to the place where the number 7 actually goes here for Enoch. And the number 7 opposite in the daylight goes to William Miller in 1833. Okay. Again, look at the 6th hour in the dark part of the clock dial. Enoch prophesying of the coming of the Messiah opposite of the 6th hour of the light part. And there we see Miller also prophesying of the same event, coming of the Messiah. Now, I'll have to be a little bit more straight with you people. I have taken and backed these numbers up 1 hour. And I have pasted the letters over the top. The 6 used to be right here, where the 7 now is. So that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be. Showing the fulfillment of these hours is with the beginning of the next hour. Showing that you've got to have a 60-minute equivalency for that hour, for the 6th hour, as you do for any of these 12 hours on the clock dial. Number 12 has got to have the equivalency of 60 minutes. You can't just put number 12 at the very end of the day and say, it's the end. And the number 12 don't get a 60-minute period. I'll tell you another secret. When you give each hour, the 12 hours their full 60 minutes equivalency, what does it multiply up to? 24 hours times 60 is 1440, 144,000. Think about it. Okay, so now it says, for the examination of the evidence from another angle with the first man that sinned. Okay, we've already had that. Again, look at the 6th hour and the dark part of the clock dial. Enoch prophesying of the coming of the Messiah, opposite unto the 6th hour of the light part. And there we see Miller also prophesying of the same event, coming of the Messiah. Now, why do we know that these numbers are in the right place after all? B.T. Hollis put the number 6 right there with the 7 now is. How do we know? Because we can count 12 full prophetic hours between this one and this one in the daylight part. In the daylight part, you can count 12 pies between 1 and 1, and the last pie is number 12 here. When it finishes out here at 1, you have 12 full hours accounted for. 12 times 4 as 12 times 2 is 144, and 144 times 2 to cover both 12 hours of the day is 1440, 144,000. Think about it. All right. So it says, again, look at the 6th hour, the dark part of the clock dial. Enoch prophesied the coming of the Messiah. So what did William Miller do? Opposite of Enoch, over here in 1833, prophesying of the coming of the Messiah at the fulfillment of the 6th hour. Okay. This is one of the reasons that the Elohim is with the allowing of the William Miller for the proclaiming of the coming of the Messiah in the year of 1844. For the Noah is with the predicting of the end of the world and his generation in the 9th parabolic hour, which is parallel across the page to Ellen G. White in 1844, that also prophesied of the same thing, or William Miller prophesied it, culminating here in 1844, of the coming of the Messiah. William Miller prophesied in 1833, Ellen G. White And the Adventists picked up that theme and prophesied for the next over 100 years. That was their prophecy as well. Okay. This is one of the reasons that Elohim is with the allowing of the William Miller for the proclaiming the coming of the Messiah in the year of 1844. For the Noah is with the predicting of the end of the world and his generation at the 9th hour. And opposite unto the 9th hour and the light part is with the Ellen G. White prophesying of the end of the world and this generation. And that is where this generation began. At the 12th parabolic hour is with the Israel after flesh going out of the Egypt. When I say at the 12th parabolic hour, it means at the end of the 12th parabolic hour is with the Israel coming out. So let's read that again. At the beginning of the first hour of the day, the 12th hour closing out the last hour of the night, at the beginning of the 12th hour, the first hour of the day, is with the Israel coming out of Egypt. Well, actually, let's be a little bit more accurate on that. Israel started out in the dark part of the Passover day. The last dark part of the Passover day. No. Started out after 6 hours waiting so the last 6 hours of the prophetic 12th hour, Israel started her march out of Egypt. When the sun came up that morning, she was in the wilderness. Took her a 6-hour journey to get out of Egypt and to the wilderness. When the sun came up, that's when she started her first hour journey. When the sun came up. Closing out the 12th hour at the sunrise. Okay. At the 12th hour is with the Israel after flesh going out of Egypt. That's at the end of the 12th hour. And opposite of the 12th hour sunset is with the Israel after spirit as the finished product going out of the world, Egypt. There is no question that the fall of the Adam prophecy of the end and Noah is in the conjunction with the hours shown on the chart. Now, Vicky Holliff wants you to see the chart. There's another chart where it's got the 144,000. For the saints come with Yahshua at his coming to take the waiting saints out of this world. Folks, here in the 12th parabolic hour, when you're translated out of this earth, out of the sinful kingdom of Babylon, and you're called into the kingdom of heaven here on earth, you dwell in heavenly places right here on earth. This is the same thing as entering into heaven itself when it comes fully full-blown and comes down. This is a prelude, entering into his kingdom here on earth while it's being set in this 12th parabolic hour and becoming sanctified in it. This is what is a pre-mountain heavenly experience. Because Paul says that when you lay hold of the blood of the everlasting covenant and you're reconciled by the blood of Yahshua, you have been translated into the kingdom of his dear Son right here on earth, which is the kingdom of heaven right here on earth. Okay. There is no question that the fall of Adam, the prophecy of the Enoch and Noah, is in the conjunction with the hours shown on the chart. Here we see another type. Elohim's truth unto the world before the scriptures came coincides with the truth in the time of the scriptures, showing that the Elohim is with the one truth, one Messiah, and one gospel in all ages. For the idea being taught by the self-styled ministers of the gospel, that the Elohim had one method for the saving of the people before the scriptures came into the existence, and another in the Old Testament time for the descendants of Abraham, and still another for the New Testament and the Gentiles, etc., is a deception of the devil without the truth. For the things written are with the proving of the truth and for the revealing of the error, for in the reality is with the common reasoning, tells us that there can be no justice in such an ever-changing method of the salvation. For I am the Yeshua, or the Yahweh, I change not. For the 12th parabolic hour on the dial to the right is with the representation of the sunrise, and on the right also the sunset. Okay? Number 12 is not. Now let's read that again. For the 12th hour on the dial to the right is with the representation of the sunrise. No, it's not. When I put that 1 back in the place of that 12, then you have to say the sundial when the sun comes up in the morning. Your sundial of ancient time would always reflect on that number 1, showing that the darkness had passed from the last hour of the night, and then the sun always reflected upon the 1, not the 12. For the 12 was buried in the last hour of the night. How could the sun shine upon something when the sun is the one that's burying the 12? Because the earth is hid from the sun at this time. When that sun comes out from behind the earth and starts rising, then that's when the first hour lights up. The 12th hour is buried deep into the night. You get the point? For the message of the 6th hour, 1833 by William Miller, is with the identification by the midnight cry. Let's read a little bit earlier. For the first hour on the dial to the right is with representation of the sunrise, and on the left, the sunset. The 6th hour and the light part. Okay, the 6th hour after midday comes right here at 12. 1 more hour left of that 6th hour. And when that 6th hour finishes out, you have successfully finished out 12 full hours of the daylight, from 1 to 1. Okay? For the message at the end of the 6th hour, 1833, Brother William Miller is with the identification by the midnight cry, 1844. See earlier writings, page 277, for comment on that, because it corresponds with that of the Enoch, with the Yeshua speaking, and at the midnight there was a cry made, behold, the bridegroom cometh, go you out to meet him, Matthew 25:6. Okay. Now, what you don't realize is that this is a parable and a prophecy for the judgment of the living. There's only one midnight cry, but there's actually 2 classes of people rise and trim their lamps and go out to meet the bridegroom. And where it's played out as 5 were foolish and 5 was wise. That was not played out in 1844. Although that was a true happening, but it was a happening that happened that nobody had the understanding or interpretation of at the time. So when the time comes to understand the interpretation of that prophecy pertaining to these 10 virgins, and they're rising and trimming their lamps and going out to meet the bridegroom, when that is understood, and that's when the prophecy, that's what the prophecy was made for that time period. And not for someone to come along over 100 years later and say, oh, that applied to the 1844 movement. But if it did, how come none of those people knew about it? How come the prophecy wasn't brought to their attention if it involved them, representing the 10 virgins, 5 wise and 5 foolish, and going out to meet the bridegroom? Because the bridegroom came to the Holy of Holies in 1844. The bridegroom didn't come and meet his bride. There was no groups of people, a whole multitude of people coming to meet him representing the bride. That's why they got very disappointed and went back where they came from, because he didn't appear. If he had appeared and fulfilled this parable and prophecy, they would have gone on with it. The wise would have. Let's go on. For the 6th hour, in the light part, stands also as the moon with the sun in the full strength, and in the 6th hour of the night stands for the midnight with the moon shining in the full strength. For the scriptures begin to rise at the 12th hour, and when the message by William Miller is being preached with the representation by the 6th hour call, for the compilations and publishing of the Old and New Testament denotes also of the midday. For the proclaiming of the message by the Enoch is with the looking forward unto the prophecy culminating in the year of 1844, with the Yeshua coming into the most holy place with his saints for the investigative judgment of the dead. Daniel 7, 9, 10, and 11. For the preaching by the William Miller is with the fulfillment of the prophecy of the midnight cry by the enemy. For the understanding of the subject of the judgment is for the understanding after the session began. For the William Miller is with the impossibility for the making of the proper application for the expected event. Of the grammatical expressions being used by the Messiah, for there was a cry made, is with the using of the past tense was, which is an adverb, for the proving the fact that the true meaning of the Miller's message is the verb present tense is. For the understanding after the making of the call, for there was, said he, instead of there shall be, or we should be read, instead of there is, there is a cry. For the evidence in this study is with the proving of the divinity of the Messiah and his power and the vision, even unto the smallest of the details in the past, present, and the future. For the truth being very plain, simple, strong, and certain in the revealing of the wonders of the Scripture is for the changing of the heart of the reader by the making of the truth of the greatest value. Okay. For if the dead should arise from the grave, or even if an angel should descend from the heaven, for that class would attribute unto the power, unto the devil. Okay, they would attribute the power unto the devil. Okay. Just do a little editing right there. For the psalmist describes the majesty of the Elohim's word in the following language. I will worship toward thy holy temple and praise thy name for thy loving kindness and for thy truth. For thou hast magnified thy word above all thy name, Psalms 138:2. Said the Yahshua. If they hear not the Moses and the prophets, neither will they be persuaded, though one rose from the dead. Luke 16:31. For the 1 hour, Revelation 17:12, in the time of the horns of the scarlet-colored beast receiving power as a king, is in the period of the 12th parabolic hour, 2002, and to the end of this world's history, from the end of the 11th hour unto the 12th allegorical hour. We're rocking along about 5 minutes left for our study. It says, we're going to go into the part now, Kingdom of the Heaven, Matthew 20, verse 1 through 6. Since we're already pretty well studied up on that, I'll just put that in there as a review. But there is always some new information to be added to the review. We might just look at that and see what new information that we might be dealing with here. It says, Kingdom of the Heaven, Moses and children of Israel, 1500 BC. For the early morning hour is at the last hour of the night, the 12th hour, which is 6 a.m. No, 6 a.m. is the start of the first hour. Okay. So actually, when the 6th, which is represented by the 12th here, the last hour of the night, comes to its fulfillment, then you start with the first hour of the day, and the 6th hour of the night from midnight on should be labeled as 12, not 6. So this is what we're dealing with. William Miller, V.T. Hollis had not discovered that information. So the early morning hour is at the last hour of the night, and rightfully so, he calls it the 12th hour. 6 a.m. Matthew 20, verse 1 and 2. For the third hour of the day, Matthew 20, verse 3, are for the working in the first and second hour of the daylight, 1500 BC, up to the birth of the Yahshua 01 AD, by the first call of the first group laborers, Matthew 20, verse 1. 1a. For the Moses with the children of Israel, 1500 BC, are with the first call at the 12th, at the end of the 12th parabolic hour, 2000, no, at the beginning of the 12th parabolic hour, 2002. The last hour of the night, 6 a.m., 01 hour morning, for the working in the vineyard. Let's do that again. For the Moses and the antitype with the children of Israel, 1500 BC, the antitype would be with Elijah David in 2002, or with the first call at the beginning of the 12th hour, 2002. Okay. In this case, the 12th hour is your last hour of the daylight, and so I'm going to upgrade that also on my book, the last hour of the daylight, instead of the last hour of the night. Okay. So it says 6 a.m. 01 hour in the morning for the working in the vineyard, Isaiah 5:7. With the house of Israel in the wilderness at the Mount Sinai in the land of the Arabia. For the Moses of the first Exodus is with the writing of the first 5 books of the Scriptures, and with the continuation of the first candlestick, Zechariah 4:3, with the representation of the Old Testament by the heavenly sanctuary system. For the return of the heavenly sanctuary upon the Mount Sinai in the first year of the wilderness sojourn is with the ascension of the Moses into the mount for the 40 days, for the receiving of the law, instruction, and for the raising up of the tabernacle in the second year in the wilderness, for the teaching of the children of the Israel about the plan of salvation by the Yahweh's ordained system of the true worship, with the daily and the connection with the sanctuary service by the animal sacrifice. For the 10 Commandments on the 2 tables of the stone of the testimony is with the writing by the finger of the Yahweh, Exodus 31:18. Incidentally, on the back of those 10 Commandments is also written the book of the laws of the sanctuary, which is Yahshua's writings. For the laws, precepts, statutes, commandments, and judgments are with the writing by the hand of Moses, and a book for the depositing in the side part of the ark, Deuteronomy 31:26, for a witness in the latter days, Deuteronomy 31:29. For the children of Israel and the judgment of the living in the 12th parabolic hour. For the Seventh-day Adventist Laodicea, or with the identification as the spiritual Israel of today. Okay, this brings to the close of our study this hour in contact at the 11th hour call. We're going to close this service now with a song by Elijah David entitled Lead Me to the Rock. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I, I'll forever be. Indebted to the Son, the very one who came to set men free. For the life in this world I have to live is but a stepping stone. For the greater heights I have to attain is never done alone. Lead me to the rock, oh lead me to the rock, lead me to the rock that's higher than I. Lead me to the place of the Savior's feet, lead me to the mansions in the sky. A man on a mission came to this world, sort of on the slum. Born in a manger and scarcely a stranger could be seen passing by. The moon shone bright with the heavenly lights of all the starry host. For the brightest one of them all is the one that admired the most. For the star pointed to the newborn King as he lay in the manger's crib. For he's a descendant of the one who created from Adam's rib. As the time rolled on, many stories are told about the man of the Galilee. How he changed the water into the wine and made the blind to see. For this is a man for all time upon whom men come to rely. For the witness of many miracles right before their eyes. For he lived and he died and he rose again with the victory over the grave. but to prove him once and for all that he had the power to save. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I. Lead me to the fountain that never runs dry. Lead me in the path by the river of life. Lead me to those mansions in the sky. Don't leave me in the desert, barren and dry. Than to wish forever and let to die. Rather than lead me to the rock that is higher than I. Lead me to the rock that's higher than I. Lead me to the rock, oh lead me to the rock. Lead me to the rock that's higher than I. Lead me to the place of the Savior's feet. Lead me to the mansions in the sky. Oh yes, lead me to those mansions in the sky.